ABC 10 News at 5 starts now.
The rabbi who gained worldwide fame after a gunman attacked the Chabad of Poway says he's guilty of tax fraud. Good evening, I'm Kimberly Hunt.
And I'm Steve Atkinson. Today, Rabbi Israel Goldstein pleaded guilty to a scheme involving millions of dollars in contributions and donations to the synagogue. As our ABC 10 News reporter Michael Chen explains, the investigation began almost 4 years ago.
There are no adequate words to describe what we all endured in this room.
He became a worldwide symbol of hope and strength after surviving a mass shooting at the synagogue he founded. More than a year later, a fall from grace for Rabbi Israel Goldstein.
This was an elaborate, long-term scheme that involved careful planning, attention to detail, and significant deception.
Goldstein pleading guilty to orchestrating a scheme where donors made large contributions to his synagogue, the Chabad of Poway, but then secretly gave back almost all the money. According to prosecutors, Goldstein would typically keep a portion of the contribution, about 10%, then funnel the remaining 90% back to the donor on one occasion in the form of $1 million in gold coins. The donors would then get a tax deduction, in total $6.2 million funneled back and forth, a loss to the IRS about $1.5 million.
Members of the Chabad of Poway were also victims of this crime, for those fake donations certainly did not benefit the congregation.
According to prosecutors, Goldstein also used a similar scheme to cheat companies who matched donations. Also, he and his accomplices creating fake invoices to get more than $1 million in grants and insurance claims, some from the 2007 wildfires. Rabbi Goldstein became aware of the investigation when a search warrant was issued 6 months before a teenage shooter would fire inside the synagogue, killing 1, injuring 3, including Goldstein, who lost part of his hand. We've learned Goldstein, who retired months after the shooting, has been cooperating with prosecutors. 5 others in the case also pleading guilty this week. Prosecutors say because of his cooperation and actions after the shooting, they've recommended probation at sentencing. Michael Chen, ABC 10 News.
Goldstein will have to pay $2.5 million in restitution. Today, the Chabad organization revealed that when Goldstein publicly retired last year, he'd actually been fired, but it couldn't be disclosed at the time because of the investigation.
And now to the latest on the coronavirus in San Diego County. 539 new cases were reported today, bringing our total to 20,887. The 14-day rolling average is now 6.2%. 14 more deaths were also reported, bringing that total to 436. With the announcement San Diego Unified is starting its school year online, some local parents say they're exploring other options. ABC 10 News reporter Melissa Masiha spoke to families trying to plan for an uncertain future.
I spent the morning contacting other local school districts. Many are still finalizing their plans. But for some working parents, not knowing is adding to what's already been an extremely stressful time. Patrick Baden has 4 children. He said his incoming high school senior did fine with distance learning in the Poway Unified School District, but it was a struggle for his 12-year-old.
She was completely failed on online learning. It was not a platform that she adapted to.
Right now, Poway Unified is offering choices, a return to campus with some online options or a virtual learning academy. But that could still change if some type of on-campus learning is off the table.
We're right now exploring the option of private school and how do we financially afford that.
Or they might move to a district that does offer in-person instruction. John Anderson's 2 kids are in San Diego Unified. San Diego, one of the biggest districts in the state, committed to the beginning of the school year online. John has entertained the same options as Patrick.
I think the online experience in the spring was okay, but to do it for potentially a whole semester or a whole year, I think is going to be a pretty big struggle for the kids.
Sage Oak Charter School is an independent studies program that operates in several counties, including San Diego.
Our normal family that enrolls is a family who they just are passionate about homeschooling. Now, I think a lot of families are enrolling who are wanting out of the traditional brick and mortar school because they don't want what they had in the spring.
Student Services Coordinator Chelsea Anima said interest has increased dramatically since the pandemic began. South Bay mom Elisa Hilliard homeschools her 3 daughters and shares her experiences on social media. Her advice for families looking to homeschool.
So you have to be ready for change. It really depends on what your schedule is like, how flexible your hours are. Can you build a schedule with your family?
Melissa Masiha, ABC 10 News.
San Diego Unified says it will provide parents another update on August 10th.
It will now be easier for local restaurants to expand outdoor dining during these indoor restrictions in the county. This afternoon, the San Diego City Council unanimously passed an ordinance that will allow for what the mayor calls streeteries and street tail. That allows restaurants and retail businesses to expand onto the street, the parking spaces, sidewalks, and parking lots.
More space means more customers and more business. This also gives San Diegans the confidence that restaurants and retail businesses are doing everything that they can to keep everyone as safe as possible.
Under the ordinance, there is no application or fee for a business to expand operations into the private parking lot. The new round of coronavirus-related shutdown orders that has been a simple adjustment for some businesses, but a nightmare for others, including salons. Our ABC 10 News reporter John Horn explains why the state won't budge when it comes to allowing your haircut to be outside.
So we again hit the ground running.
Corrine Lamb didn't waste any time once she learned she wouldn't be allowed to cut hair indoors anymore. She spent Monday afternoon gathering tents, misters, and rugs to make it somewhat bearable to move out into her parking lot.
We were essentially ready to operate effective tomorrow outdoors.
Governor Newsom on Monday ordered salons, gyms, and malls to cease indoor operations to slow the increasing spread of COVID-19. Lamb didn't think moving outside would be a problem until she learned that the State Board of Barbering and Cosmetology wouldn't allow it. The agency telling 10 News in a statement that the services must be in a licensed establishment and that heat is a concern.
We're not just hairstylists. We are professionals and business owners and mothers, and all we want is to be able to do what we do.
It's a devastating blow to Salado Salon and those like it across the county because unlike last shutdown, they've exhausted all of their stimulus funds through the Paycheck Protection Program. Gyms, meanwhile, are now working to expand outside and are able to offer services under tents.
This closure definitely brings a lot of question to people wondering, like, why hair salons?
Lamb says it just doesn't make sense. John Horn, ABC 10 News.
A spokeswoman for the state says there are safety and sanitation concerns to consider, but that it is exploring options.
A coronavirus vaccine being developed in the U.S. is on the right track so far. The drug company Moderna says early trials show the vaccine is safe and triggers an immune response. Some scientists say that it's unclear if the immune response is strong enough to protect someone from getting the virus. The drug is scheduled to go through the final trial. The White House is cutting red tape to allow a faster process. It hopes that we'll see a vaccine by January, and vaccines typically take years to develop. This afternoon, President Trump took aim at China, criticizing the country's response to the coronavirus, which originated in Wuhan.
Make no mistake, we hold China fully responsible for concealing the virus and unleashing it upon the world. They could have stopped it. They should have stopped it. Would have been very easy to do at the source when it happened.
The president spoke about the virus after announcing he signed legislation that would slap sanctions on Chinese officials who undermine the autonomy of Hong Kong. And a White House official is mocking Dr. Anthony Fauci on social media. This comes as the Biden campaign launches a new ad in a reliably Republican state. Here's ABC's Karen Travers.
President Trump claims he has no problem personally with Dr. Anthony Fauci.
I have a very good relationship with Dr. Fauci.
But the president has also publicly accused the nation's top infectious disease expert of making mistakes, a message his team at the White House has jumped on. A senior White House communications official posting on Facebook a cartoon that slams Fauci, depicting him as a faucet, spewing phrases like no NFL season and indefinite lockdown. This seems to contradict the message from the White House podium on Monday.
There's no opposition research being dumped to reporters.
Press Secretary Kayleigh McEnany insisting that just because administration officials put together a list obtained by ABC News criticizing Fauci's past comments on coronavirus, that doesn't mean they're running a smear campaign against him. Meanwhile, Fauci continues to raise alarms about the spread of the coronavirus in the U.S.
We haven't even begun to see the end of it yet.
A message that runs counter to the president's push to get the country back to normal.
You're losing a lot of lives by keeping things closed.
And former Vice President Joe Biden today again slamming President Trump for his handling of the pandemic.
Please listen to your public health experts instead of denigrating them.
And the Biden campaign announced today it is putting money into television and online ads in Texas. The ad does not mention President Trump by name, but focuses on families hard hit by the coronavirus pandemic. A Democrat has not won Texas in a presidential race since 1976. Karen Travers, ABC News, Washington.
Joe Biden just unveiled his plans for the economy and for fighting climate change, all while taking aim at President Trump.
Do your job, Mr. President, because if we can't deal with the public health crisis, we can't deal with the economic crisis.
Biden's economic plan calls for spending $2 trillion on expanding the use of clean energy on transportation and infrastructure. The former vice president called out Trump for dismissing the growing climate crisis.
When I think about climate change, the word I think of is jobs.
Biden's new plan hopes to win over progressives while promising Americans new jobs.
Today was the first court appearance for the former San Diego sheriff's deputy who was charged with murdering an unarmed suspect back in May. The suspect's family told our ABC 10 News reporter Jennifer Kastner that the past few months have been agonizing.
Tuesday, 23-year-old Aaron Russell appeared from jail to be arraigned on a second-degree murder charge in the death of 36-year-old Nick Bills.
To that charge, do you plead guilty or not guilty?
Not guilty.
In a virtual press conference Tuesday, Kathleen Bills described the pain of losing her son.
He should be alive and be here with us, but he's dead. And my heart cries out that this is not right.
His brother said he had a history of run-ins with the law.
But it did not mean that he deserved to be shot in the back.
The former San Diego County Sheriff's deputy turned himself in Monday after the charge was announced. According to the DA's office, Russell is accused of shooting Bills in the back as he was running away unarmed after he escaped from a state park officer's car outside the downtown Central Jail May 1st. Russell resigned from the department a few days later. Bills' family said Bills was a diagnosed schizophrenic. Police said earlier that day he had been detained for threatening a park ranger with a golf club. Part of a statement from Russell's defense attorney reads, "We are disappointed with the issuing decision, but frankly not surprised. In today's climate, the decisions and actions of all stakeholders in the law enforcement system are under intense scrutiny, from the deputies with boots on the ground to the prosecutors to the judges." The judge reduced Russell's bail in half from $1 million. If convicted, he faces 15 years to life in prison. His next court date is July 24th. Jennifer Kastner, ABC 10 News.
We reached out to Russell's defense attorney for an interview, but have not heard back. The DA's office said that surveillance video of the shooting is being withheld in order not to jeopardize the defendant's right to a fair trial.
A woman who shamed a Starbucks barista for refusing to serve her without a mask is planning to sue.
I'm going to sue him for half of it. Whatever it is, by the time we get it taken down, I'm going to sue him for half of it.
$100,000 in donations was raised for the barista, why the woman says this is a case of discrimination. Plus, local geologist Pat Abbott explains why recent earthquakes could be setting the stage for the big one. And Michael Jackson's two children, Paris and Prince, opening up in a rare interview. What they're revealing about the pressure to follow in their dad's footsteps. ABC 10 News is back in 90 seconds.